Our life is easy, and sometimes we forget that. But in some moments we remember, and then we're shocked that we might feel ungrateful for it. I started to think about it when I put all my laundry into the wash machine, and I imagined how it was when we didn't have all of these machines, like no wash machine, no dishwasher, no oven, no refrigerator. Now living, it's so convenient. You can take all of your laundry, you can put it inside, you press a button, and then you can do whatever you want. But back then, hundreds of years ago, or it doesn't have to be, this is the Western world. If we go to other countries that are not as technologically developed like in the Western world, in Europe or in America, North America, there's still people who go to the river, they take all of their laundry, they carry it to the river, and they wash it with their own hands. And it's so much more time, it takes more energy, like really human energy. Like imagine cooking and making the laundry, and maybe for the food, collecting things from nature. Life was much slower than we live it today. Think about water. Like now we live in apartments, we can have cold water, we can have warm water in the same second. We just open the tap and we have the water. And before that, people carried the water from faraway places, with their hands on their back. And it's also crazy how we just get used to it, and we don't think about it to be different. Like we don't know any other way that it could be. And we take it for granted, and sometimes we complain that things still go too slow for us, like it takes too much time to do some things. Or I remember that sometimes or a lot of times I'm like, I don't want to make the effort to vacuum the apartment, or I don't want to make the effort to clean the floor like with a wet wipe or something like this. And it's nothing, it's really nothing compared to how lives were before all these machines that just do the work for us. And still, like, there are other challenges that we are now facing in this highly technological world, like the physical activities. They're not so hard anymore, or they're taken over by machines. But through all of the development, we have so many options, like for everything. We have so many options for our jobs. We have so many options to educate ourselves. We have the options to reach people from all over the world. And sometimes this huge amount of options, it can be overwhelming. And it also takes our time, because we're weighing all the options against each other and we want to make the right decision. And maybe before, people had a lot less options to choose from. Like there was one school close to you, so you went to that school. There was no other option to decide. Or the same for the job, or the same for the education. Also the same for the products. We have so many products, so many brands, so much variety. You go into the supermarket, and in the supermarket it's also a place where I notice how crazy developed the capitalistic world is. You can get thousands of products, like the same corn in the can from 10 different brands. And yes, a lot of unnecessary things. Like sometimes I imagine, what if you take all of the resources that go into products that are not really necessary and invest them somewhere else? But of course it doesn't work like this. It works according to the interest of the market and what people here want or enjoy. And if it's new sweets or a new sort of chocolate with a new flavor, and people buy it, so that's what is produced. Sometimes these crazy amount of options is also slowing down the process for us, because we have fear of regretting not to take the right option, and we have a lot of FOMO that we cannot try everything out. This is also a huge problem. It has more of a psychological nature. So why am I mentioning all of these things? First of all, we need to be much more grateful for what we have and for all the privileges and the standards that we're living with, all of the machines that take our work and give us so much time to use for other things. And then it's a pity to use this time for only consuming social media. We take it for granted and we use our time for activities that are maybe not beneficial for us. And the other thing is about how to deal with overthinking and how to approach this problem of too many options. I think you just need to pick one option and start with it, because all of this overthinking and trying to make the best decision, you will not get very far in your head. So you actually need to do it, and you can remember that you always can adjust on the way. Like, it's not you choosing an option and that's it. You can switch, you can modify the path that you went. Life is more about progress than perfection. You need to make mistakes. We live in a world where very much is done for us, and yet we sometimes forget just how easy our lives are. So try to remember it more, especially when you feel down and like nothing goes your way. We're very blessed to live this way. That's for today's video, and see you tomorrow.